This is John for MTG Nexus, coming at you with an attempt to rebuild Phoenix a little bit at least here. It's been about 6 months since we revisited this deck. I kind of built this on stream last night, played a match, played a couple other matches off stream last night in tournament practice rooms. It's definitely different. I don't know if it's good, so we're probably going to have to push it through a league to honestly see how good it actually is, how far it actually has to go. One of the things I did note as I rebuilt it with this version is there is a lot of air in this deck. Now, obviously, the Phoenix decks obviously had quite a bit of air in them. They had to find, one of their payoffs, whether it was Thing in the Ice or Arclight Phoenix. And then previously some of them ran Pyromancer's Ascension and some copies of Aria Flame, whether in the main or in the side. This version kind of has a lot of the same issues. The only really difference is we're running Seasoned Pyro as opposed to some of the other things like Crackling Drake or Pyromancer's Ascension. The thought process is the format's gotten a little bit grindier, and the thought process is this gives us yet another discard outlet for Arclight Phoenixes and kind of a mid-range attrition shell rather than trying to turbo spam Phoenixes and things in the ice all the time. So one of the things, obviously the loss of Faithless Looting considerably hurt this deck, but I honestly think the deck would have been relegated to a mid-tier deck anyway, because of a lot of the changes in the format. Even if it had Faithless Looting right now and Hogak had been completely nerfed and say it was just like Dredge was just like a normal deck, I still don't think Arclight Phoenix would be doing particularly great in the meta. So even though Merchant of the Veil obviously a downgrade over Faithless Looting, I don't really think that's just the only weakness of the deck. A lot of people have tried different things to fill this in, whether it be Ox of Agonis, Merchant of the Veil, Izzet Charm, Chart of Course, Thrill of Possibilities is another one that's been printed recently. So far with this version, I'm doing 2 Izzet Charm, 4 Merchant of the Veil, obviously Haggle being the discard outlet, and then Seasoned Pyro is kind of a value way to get Arclight Phoenix. And don't forget, Arclight Phoenix has the hidden mode of a 3-2 cast flyer, which sometimes is relevant, especially in the post-board games, where your opponent's trying to cut you off of your graveyard. Beyond that, this is primarily a Thing in the Ice deck, and yet another reason why the deck hasn't been doing particularly well is the number of answers to Thing in the Ice have greatly increased in the format. Even recent printings like Blood Chief's Ascension and other removal spells, also answer Thing in the Ice quite nicely. Some of the sideboard card slots don't do it, like Ether Gust and such doesn't hit Thing in the Ice, but there are a lot of other things that give Thing in the Ice some fits. So that is something to watch, is how often is Thing in the Ice a relevant card in some of these matches. So the deck that I built primarily was based around a core of cards, kind of trying to get rid of all this nonsense. So basically I felt this was the core of the shell that I wanted to see, and this left me with like 6 flex slots to play with. Obviously the core of the 12 cantrips, 4 Lightning Bolt, 4 copies of Merchant of the Veil for Haggle, 4 copies of Manamorphose, 4 Thing, 4 Arclight, 18 lands. This is kind of the starting point that I wanted to be at. The reason for the double island originally, and I think this was like the last version that I played, was the ability to grab islands when you're trying to play Blood Moons. And then the rest of the main deck is just kind of a smattering of cards. Brazen Borrower, the reason for this was to give you kind of some outs to Chalice in the main deck. Blood Moon, just a one-of catch-all in the main deck. A couple copies of Izzet Charm. This is both a discard outlet for Phoenix. You can turn 2 unstep Izzet Charm, discard a Phoenix. The next turn chain 3 spells quite easily. Lava Dart. This is kind of a holdover from some of the first versions after Modern Horizons, but also fairly good against like Taxes and some of the other decks that have popped up recently. Flame Slash, to have another better quality removal spell in a non lightning bolt removal spell for things like Meddling Mage. And it's kind of where the main deck ended up. Sideboard's kind of an extension of that thought process. Magmatic Sinkhole giving you another out to problematic planeswalkers and creatures. Blood Moon, second copy of Blood Moon, and 2 copies of Cleansing Wildfire. In the past, I've noted that Tron, especially Green Tron, has been problematic because Blood Moon comes down on 3, but they usually have some way to fight it. So Cleansing Wildfire gives you yet another way to answer Tron lands while also cantripping and adding to your spell count for things like Phoenix and Thing in the Ice. One of copy of Anger of the Gods for creature matchups. Bone Crusher Giant, kind of another, hey Cesar, how are you? Another copy of Bone Crusher Giant here as yet another threat we can bring in some of the post-war games. But also having utility as a removal spell in some matchups. 2 copies of Aria Flame when you kind of need a plan to sidestep or increase your threat density. Sidestep, Graveyard Hate, or increase your threat density in matchups where either Thing in the Ice is terrible or your Arclight Phoenixes are going to be under attack. 2 copies of Mystical Dispute because blue soup decks are kind of a thing. 2 copies of Aether Gust because red and green decks are kind of all over the place. 2 copies of Abrade. This brings your outs to Chalice up to 3, which is kind of nice, as Etron is still a deck, and then Dragon's Claw as a one of kind of answer some more play against Burn and Prowess in particular. So I'm going to risk this in a league. I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of nervous with this because last time I tried working on Phoenix, I think I went 1-4 in the last league I played, so really can get discouraging quite quickly when you're like incinerating tickets. So, but there's a world of difference between the play level you'll see in tournament practice rooms and the play level you'll see in leagues. So, you know, can only base so much off of tournament practice things. So, not saying it's irrelevant. It gives you a feel for the deck, but just kind of, you know, something to be mindful of. You need more valid testing. Not that leagues are always the best, but you gotta start somewhere, right? I think this is... When was Faithless Looting actually banned? I guess we'll worry about that question in a sec. Look. So we're on the play. So turn 2, Thing in the Ice. Yeah, Sam seems fine. Can lead on Scalding Tarn here. Probably plan on getting an island or a Sacred Foundry. Or we could be bolting an Arbor Elf. So looks like we're going head to head with Gruul, perhaps. Maybe Heliod Company. Both matches, which a non-answered Thing in the Ice can be quite good. Oh, are we up against Gigolo MTG or whatever his name is? Let's fetch. Let's start by casting Manamorphose. Pitch one of these lands. Don't think we care about... So, Spyro, sure. Did they find the path to exile? They have a path, they have a path. It's kind of annoying. Go ahead and fetch. Could find another bolt just to end this. Or if they tap low, Izzet Phoenix could potentially do it here. Problem is, two of our bolts are already in the yard. That would be a very risky gamble, wouldn't it? Well, let's put you to the test. Do you have a bolt or a path? You do not? Alright. Alright, so I do have some working knowledge of his deck because I've watched him stream quite a bit. His deck is quite vulnerable to anger. Sinkhole's a fine card. Bone Crusher Giant's a fine card. Abrade's a reasonable, especially seeing the equipment. Ether Gust is pretty good against his deck. Blood Moon's obviously pretty terrible. Lava Dart's okay against Arbor Elf. Probably shave like one Arclight, one Merchant in the Veil. I don't remember what his graveyard hate of choice was. I know he runs like Clothes and Skoos, I think, in some numbers. I think we board out a couple Thought Scours. Pretty sure this is just a mulligan. We have no way to get a blue source. Nothing going really on in this hand. Like, obviously, if we draw like the Thing in the Ice or an Arclight Phoenix, this hand gets a lot better. I still think this hand's a mulligan with the 4 lands. This hand's much better. Probably put back the basic mountain. Actually, do I put back? I think I put back the basic mountain. See if they have Utopia Sprawl this time instead of... Yep. Play that in case he's on the pillage plan. Okay. Sure. Brought in relics, which is fine, kind of whatever. They have Thing, I'm perfectly happy eating a Path to Exile here. Naya bottom? Okay, that's a bit of a weird one. Don't really have any cards that I want to pitch yet, so... I think I'm willing to take a hit for 4 here. hit for whatever, I like it. Pitch, land, and bolt, I guess. Might have been wrong to pitch the Ether Gust, just because so many of his good hits in his deck are red. Sure. Well, we'll see how it does, Ando. I'm not... Like, after the last go-round with it, I'm very cautious about Phoenix. How are you doing tonight? Sure. Two, 4, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I guess their out is Stomp and Bolt. Looks like a concession lockup. Nice. I feel bad for GG, man, but I'm sure the tilting on the other side is real, losing to a deck that hasn't seen play in the format in probably a year or so. So, we'll see how this goes. Probably going to check that out after we get off stream. So we're on the draw with a cantrip heavy hand. Evaluating, what does this hand do? Hey, Elefix, thanks for the follow. What does this hand do? Hand gets a whole lot looks at things. I do think we keep this hand, but obviously it's risky. Like, we're spending our first couple of turns spinning our wheels against what looks like might be Death and Taxes. It's gonna fetch my basic, get a basic island now. Go ahead and cast an opt. Yeah, I'm probably in the market for a lightning bolt against what's probably Death and Taxes. Okay, maybe it isn't Death and Taxes. Sword of Fire and Ice. It's definitely a card we're interested in. I think we just bolt this. Sure. Question is this the kind of deck that plays... Okay. Sure. What is going on over there? So we're going to cast Haggle here more than anything to start the process of flipping Thing in the Ice. Yes. Play Pyro, split, pitching Pyro and Thought Scour. Sure. See what they do here. They already play a land this turn? They have. Path would obviously be very annoying. Okay. All right. Can't block. Sure. And a monkey equip. That just finishes it right. That was dumb. But we really can't... I guess I should have played Brazen Bar over there. Womp womp. There's a good chance we're dead if they have Bolt in hand. Or I guess Chandra would do it too. So me not playing this... I Why wouldn't they blow up our island? Yep, the punt cost me there. Alright, I definitely don't want the Blood Moon. Definitely want a Braids. That guy. Do I want Aether Gust as the thing? Maybe? Sinkhole. Our opponent definitely had an interesting mix of things main deck there between Relic and Blood Moon and all of that nonsense. Shave a couple merchants. Still tempted to bring in like at least one Gust. But the question is, what am I going down then? Is an Arclight Phoenix hand, when I've already boarded one Arclight Phoenix, good enough on 3? Guess we'll try it. Hey, shocker, they get the sword that beats my deck. Deck. So we only get one Phoenix back this turn, but we can just turn around and get the next one back next turn, so... Um, 1-0 down a game so far. And I should have won last game too, but I punted and didn't cast a yeah, sure. Punted and didn't cast a Brazen Borrower before a Blood Moon came down from our opponent's side. This is lethal, right? Bolt you. Bolt you. Maybe I'm supposed to bring the Phoenixes back in. Oh, no problem. We finished up 3-2. I lost to Gabos in the last round. We had quite a match against Nahuel, or Nhayuel, or whatever. He was on Izzet Prowess. I think that was the third match. Was probably the highlight of that league. So I did some playing with Phoenix off camera today, in the tournament practice rooms, and beat Etron. So if we can beat a tier deck like Etron, and we can fight these mid-range decks to kind of a parity situation, I'm not dissatisfied with what's going on with this deck. This pretty reasonable. Mainly just because Spyro is so good at refueling. We have access to 2 basic islands against the Blood Moon deck. Sure. I just laugh at the amount of people that think Graveyard Hate matters against Arclight Phoenix. Like, it really is freaking laughable. Sure. That's fine. The Fulminator Cleansing Wildfire Path to Exile deck. Sure. Just going to pass here because there's a chance we want to Izzet Charm something. On the CBL. Oh, right. I'll fix that after this game's over. Guess it's a good thing we kept the land heavy hand, huh? Curious what they get with this one. Sort of fire and ice, consistent. I think we still pass here. Like, I can throw bolts at the face if I absolutely have to. Looks like they've given up on the Blood Moon plan, at least against us. Cleansing Wildfire could be predictably annoying, though. Need to thin their deck a little bit. Yeah. Sword is fine-ish. Do you have Path to Exile? Guess we'll find out in a minute. Bolt your face. Bolt your face. Yeah, that's fine. Hope you tap out for something stupid. So you could still have like Bolt or something in hand. Alright, let's go to Cardboard Live. Got that fixed. I'll be back in 1 sec. I'm gonna run an ad while that's going on. Hope everybody sticks around. Don't know yet. I honestly don't know. Vista could certainly be something to visit. how many steam vents, how many basics, you know, all those. Those are details to work out if the deck's playable. Hey, Goose Musics, thanks for the follow. Hope you're doing well. Hey, Hellspawn, thanks for the follow as well. Hope you are doing well as well. We're here for match number 3. No lander, can't keep, obviously. Yeah, Islet's definitely a consideration. This hand is awkward. This is one of those hands that if this was like an Opt or a Serum Visions, this hand would be a snap keep. I certainly ran versions of it that had like 2 War Dog. A lot of it just depended on the meta. You gotta remember, not long after Phoenix got Lava Dart, Hogak became a thing. This hand's risky as heck. What is the payoff even if I do hit a second land drop? Thing in the Ice. Feel like this might be a mull to 5. I have not. Sounds much more interesting to me. Keep, put back, Spyro, and Merchant? Question mark? Or is it Phoenix? So I gotta decide if this is a Phoenix hand or if this is a Thing in the Ice hand. Because if I decide it's a Thing in the Ice hand, I can pitch Arclight and Merchant and go Serum Visions on 1, try to find a second land, and then Thing in the Ice, Manamorphose, hopefully hit a 3rd land, Spyro, and kind of go from there. I honestly think that's a better plan than trying to spike multiple Phoenixes from this hand. Alternatively, we can go Serum Visions, look for a second land, Manamorphose, and play play for a Phoenix on 2, but a Phoenix in and of itself isn't that much pressure. So I think I'm going to go with the Thing in the Ice plan and put back Phoenix and Merchant. Like I said, this all depends on us hitting a land drop with our Serum Visions, or, you know, next draw step, obviously. So Izzet Charm's an interesting one, but I do think I gotta bottom it? Question mark. The problem with let me make sure I have the right card. Hell Attack. Yeah, the problem with Merfolk's Secret Keeper is this really isn't a self-mill deck. Oh dear. Well, so you're saying we lost. Gotcha. Interesting that they'd take Opt there. Just hope we're not dead. It's kind of curious that they would burn a Simian Spirit Guide on turn 1 instead of just like Thought Seizing. Oh, they set another discard spell. Their Talisman. Alright, so we really have no defense against what they're doing right now, so it's kind of annoying. pitch one of the Spyros here. Hope we don't die this turn, which it's likely since they stopped at 6 that we're probably dead here. Well, it's a little different in Arena where the cantrips and the whatchamacallit are a lot worse. Whereas in Modern, your focus is you're not just a turbo mill deck, you're also a thing. You're more of a Thing in the Ice deck than you are an Arclight Phoenix deck, which I think is what a lot of people get wrong about the Modern version. Is this deck has always gone as Thing in the Ice is gone. I mean, we're dead here. I'm just kind of like seeing what particular version they're on. You have Thought Seizes in the main instead of Ley Lines, it looks like. Salvage Titans down there in the yard, so we are definitely dead. Yeah, this is the new Ups All Spells. Yeah, but like I said, Hellspawn, in Historic, it makes, or even when it was in Standard, it makes a lot more sense. Especially since that's more of a Pyromancer deck, obviously. And this one's more of a Thing in the Ice deck. So, one thing I am kind of cold to is I don't have any Graveyard Hate. So, Blood Moons are fine. If somehow we could survive their initial rush, that would be fine. Cleansing Wildfire could be okay. Mystical Dispute could be a really bad way to potentially win the game. Braids are fine. Attacking their mana. So basically our game plan is to attack their mana. I mean, not the best of plans, but not the worst of plans, I suppose. The question is, what do we cut here? So, do we just cut the removal? Just something as simple as cut lightning bolts and this kind of stuff. Trim a Merchant, trim a Seasoned. Might just be a trim a Seasoned because they're not really an attrition deck per se. I mean, they either execute one of their 2 combos in the post-board games or they don't. Izzet Charm and Mystical Dispute could be relevant interaction. Braids and Petty Theft could be relevant interaction. Didn't want to cut. I wanted to leave in Lava Dart, not Flame Slash. And Thing in the Ice, like holding that flip for their Vengevine turn could be relevant. Just cut another Spyro. Like I said, without like Force of Negation to slow down their mana, or like something like Surgical Extraction or Ravenous Trap, this is just a matchup we're kind of cold to. Sand's fine. We got a turn 2 Thing in the Ice, or turn 2 Cleansing Wildfire. They may not bring in any type of stuff. This hand could potentially get there. Like if we can disrupt their mana enough, find like an Abrade to get one of their whatchamacallits. I'm going to top both of those. It's kind of loose a little bit to top Thing in the Ice, but... or a second Thing in the Ice, potentially. So I don't think they can combo next turn, so I'm just going to run out the first thing. We're going to try to Wildfire them off of their black source. Probably going to have to take Cleansing Wildfire here, actually. Yep. There are some draws that could kill us this turn. This feels like a Pentad Prism. Yeah. So we're probably dead next turn. We kill them this turn. This is risky if they have some type of like interaction for our creatures, which they certainly could. Yeah, we had two different lines here, but with that Serum Visions, I had a lethal line, so I went for the lethal line. The problem if you bounce Pentad Prism and they have another untapped mana source into either Balustrade Spy or the other one, we have to time the Awoken Horror flips, and then it becomes a lot harder to kill them if they have Memory's Journey or something. So that was the easy game. Now the problem is trying to beat them on the draw against basically a turn 3 combo deck with no interaction for their graveyard hate or their graveyard plan. So, but yeah, our two lines were to bounce their Pentad Prism, sent their mana back a turn, and then hold up the flips for their turn. So if they got the goof, I guess. I mean, yeah. We could be dead before we do anything, but Mystical Dispute doesn't do a bloody thing here until we hit a third land. Alright, Serum Visions, be kind. Well, if we don't hit a land drop, we die. So, c'est la vie. You could certainly run Lightning Axe. The problem with Lightning Axe in particular is the fact that, come on, give us a land. No. Alright, well. So we're probably dead here. Yep, we're dead. Yeah, they have Memories Dirty. Which, if we had some way to survive this turn, so it didn't matter. Even if we had Cleansing Wildfire on 2, they had the mana to do it, so it didn't matter. As far as Lightning Axe, the problem I ran into with some of the previous incarnations of Arclight when I tried this out 6 months ago was you'd run out of cards. There'd be a lot of times where you would just like run out of cards. You wouldn't have enough resources to Lightning Axe. You wouldn't have enough resources to get Phoenixes back, etc. So that's why we're running with Spyros, is to kind of have like a against a Yorion deck. Keep this hand. It's not the best. It's kind of a go ham. Try to find Phoenix's hand, I guess. Really awkward that we didn't fetch him. Yeah, the Blood Moon just might be a pitch to haggle. Start by casting Opt. Manamorphose, very good card. Doesn't really fit into the game plan though, because it was just like we're bottoming a card to see another card anyway, so it's kind of whatever. Opponent's probably going to be actively playing around Blood Moon as much as they can. Yep. No other lands in hand. Okay. Is our opponent running Niv Mizzet? Okay. Serum Visions, looking for a Phoenix. Metamorphose. Is that a concession lockup? In fact, a concession lockup. Alright, we're up against some type of Yorion Uro pile, whether it is Niv or not, we don't know for sure. It did show us Mana Dorks and Utopia Sprawls. Should probably actually look this up to see what kind of brew we could be up against. So mostly it's showing up as Niv to Light, and there was one Uro pile. Do they show us all 5 colors? Potentially. So we're going to assume that they're on 5 Color Niv. And kind of go from there. So I probably want the Gusts and the Disputes. Those could both potentially be good. Blood Moon looks to be kind of middling. Cleansing Wildfire could be middling. Magmatic Sinkhole could be interesting. Aria Flame could be interesting, but they did show us at least Abrupt Decay. Let's look at this. Look at a Phoenix, a couple of Merchants, a couple of Thought Scours. Kind of how I've been boarding against potential Graveyard Hate. Like, we really don't want to get into a grind fest against this deck. Yeah, I'm presuming they're running Omnath. I'm just curious if they're Niv or if they're just, like, 5 color good stuff. That sounds fun. The 2 Phoenixes are perfect pitch fodder to Seasoned here, so we're going to keep this hand. Hope Thought Scour rips us a land. Hopefully we don't get Thoughtseize, but of course we are. I'm curious what they take here. Probably Pyro? Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate, because, like, our entire hand was based around that, but we still, you know, can cast Pyro as necessary. Hopefully this is not... Okay, it's not, well, still could be... I guess it's not, oof, that's rough, losing a second Seasoned Pyro. Top. Yeah, Uro's whatever here. This feels like the Niv Mizzet turn, so I'm going to go ahead and hold up Ether Gust just to screw with their mana a little bit. Yeah, Uro's whatever. I'm not fighting over that version of Uro. The back end I might fight over, but this version I'm not going to fight over. Okay, Niv confirmed. Great card, but doesn't really fit into what we're doing at the moment. It's mildly unfortunate, but at least they only got one of the Phoenixes. Enough. Bring delight for 4. Okay. So one of the cards in the hand is one of the cards in the hand is Yorion, which doesn't particularly do much. Other than obviously it's a 4/5 and it's annoying. So my options are Thing in the Ice or like try to chain some amount of cantrips here. With only one island, I don't think that's going to work, so... They can't even currently cast... They can cast Omnath, but they can't cast Yorion at the moment without a land drop. Oh, I guess they can because of blue and white. Gotcha. Why would they reset Omnath? Draw a card. Gotcha. Just draw step, guess the Somnath. Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Though I'm not really sure flipping Thing gets us particularly far, but that was an interesting point. Sorry I didn't see that in time because EVP. So the only other land that would matter would be the other island, So we'd have a 1 in 38 chance of hitting our other island, or I can just bolt plus Phoenix that Nissa down, and then we go to 1. I think I go for the guaranteed play rather than the higher upside play. So they can't even cast Omnath, which is interesting. They put us to 1, and there are some amount of things in their deck that can kill us here, so... that would be one of them. Is Blood Moon annoying enough to actually attack them with, is the question mark. They want to bring in the second Arya. Go down 1 Seasoned Pyro. Flame Slash doesn't... well, Flame Slash is alright against some of their stuff. Lava Dart's okay against some of their stuff. Like, it's kind of... I don't even know. Yeah, that's the thing, but their mana is still going to be pretty good, even if we are able to blow up their Utopia Sprawl lands. Not going as all in on the Arclight plan. Like, obviously, Arclight's still good in this matchup, because their graveyard hate looks to be like Kaya's Guile and maybe Kaya herself. And maybe they have, like, some other graveyard hate. But guess we keep this hand. It's a little bit reactive for my tastes, but fine, I suppose. Hopefully they go like turn 1 Utopia Sprawl. Yeah, I'm actively hoping for a Utopia Sprawl. Alright, pass turn. Like, this hand's very reactive, so it's kind of eh. You have to Ether Gust this, right? Put it on bottom. Alright. Don't call it a comeback. This is the comeback. This is the moment. Tonight is the night. See us up. Do 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 do. Okay. Okay. Maybe you don't have another land? Fortunately, you do. Do we hit an Uro here is the question mark. That one we definitely have to hit. Ain't no doubt about that one. Alright, here's hoping. Fatal Push would be really bad. Thoughtseize? Please just be a Thoughtseize. Nope, Abundant Growth. Okay. If you go to MTG Goldfish, they have the price listings of like every card. Okay, that's mildly annoying here. But there are also, I personally rent cards as opposed to having to collect them. We left a bolt on top, right? Like, I'm not crazy. We left a bolt on top. Bolt confirmed. That's incorrect, Goose. I go infinite with about a 58 to 60% win percentage. And I play probably 4 to 5 leagues a week. And a lot of it depends on what you want to... like, there's several different price points. There's a $30-some price point that gets you like a lot of the decks like Burn and the basic Prowess decks, etc. But no, I understand what you're saying. You do have to have a winning record to go infinite, and you do have to play quite a bit for it to be worth it. I'm not going to lie there. If you just want to play one particular deck a week, Card Hoarder is a little bit better in that regard. But I personally use Mana Traders because I flip decks a lot. So... Oh, and draft. Oh, ugh. I don't draft, so... But I appreciate your contribution, Goose. I'm not trying to downplay you. I just know that personally I have roughly a 58% win percentage and tend to go infinite. Like, don't get me wrong, there are sometimes variance hits or I'm playing goofy decks and don't do as well. But if you're like consistently grinding decks that you're good with, you can go infinite quite easily. Especially in Constructed. Limited, whole nother ballgame. Alright, so we're up against Nahuel. And he was on Izzet Phoenix, or not Izzet Phoenix, Izzet Prowess last night. So this is going to be a rough one. This hand's fine. We're on the play, right? Yeah, so we're going to keep this hand. Unfortunately, this is going to be a rough matchup. Actually, I don't know that for sure. Because Burn versus Phoenix was a bad matchup for Phoenix. But I don't know about Prowess. Just going to main phase kill this, or try to kill this Soulscar Mage. If they have mutagenic growth, they have mutagenic growth. Alright, they don't, so we're better for it. You may use it even more now. Sorry, not sorry. I like it when people share useful information to each other. It's really awesome. We're going to try for a Phoenix turn. We hit a couple lands, which is kind of whatevs. Kind of a want turn, but I think we have to do it anyway. We just hit a bunch of lands, so we're probably going to be dead here. It's about to get... Really? Okay. Ah! Oh, wow. When both the Prowess player and the Burn player are... Yeah, sure. 100% attacking. Alright, so they're going to try to race. Obviously, they have more burn in their deck, so they're probably going to be better at racing than we are, so... We're at the point where we might be playing Merchant of Vale for value. Never a good place to be. It's getting... Wow. Alright. They're on a different game plan. Weird game. Metamorphose. Sure. %, blocking. Let them resolve this spell first. And then I'm going to Petty Theft this. Sure. Alright, let's see how this goes. There's a lot of darting my face, that's not a good sign. I wonder if we're dead this turn. Yeah, we're just dead this turn. Oh no, we're not. Oh, they have gut shot. Never mind. Just when you think you're safe. I honestly have no idea. Not really, probably. This game's more this is more about this matchup's more about the battlefield, most likely. Like Aria of Flame, like if they bring in like surgicals, it's whatever. But probably don't want Blood Moon here. Ether Gust is pretty decent. Mystical Dispute could be okay in some spots against some of their draws. Bone Crusher, Anger, Magmatic Sinkhole, and this. Also bring in Abrades potentially. So we have a lot of cards we might want to bring in. Lava Dart doesn't do a lot against their creatures. Or if we just run back the normal plan, board out some of that, some of that. A couple copies of Thought Scour. We still have 3 cards to cut. Do we cut Brazen Burrower? Oh yeah, the Stormwing dealt us 11 points of damage. They had a whole bunch of that's Izzet Prowess in a nutshell, right? Just kill you in one shot. Boarding out a lot of our like discard stuff because this is matchups more about the battlefield, killing their creatures, etc. So, this hand would be a gamble. So If we hit our second land drop, this hand is very good. If we don't hit our second land drop, So, we have 17 more lands in the deck. 10 cantrips as additional looks. And 4 bolts that are also pretty decent draws on turn 1. So that's 10, 14... 14 plus 17. So 31 of our 54 draws next turn are pretty good. I think I keep this hand, but it is certainly risky. Mainly because this is a thing in the ice hand. Battle of the one-land hands. Looks like they drew their second land just in time, too. Okay. Metamorphose into Storming Entity? Sure. So now we gotta decide what route we're taking here. They waste a spell to save this, then we just get to flip and bash them for a bunch anyway. Gonna opt instead. I think I'm interested in another reasonable cantrip. Bash them for 7. They conceded. Interesting. No, we definitely don't want to bring in Cleansing. It's not about attacking their mana in this matchup. Especially since I think... Well, let me check on something, but I think Nahuel was running a island in his deck anyway. It may or may not be, but it's just too risky to try to take... It's about the board, not about their mana, more than anything. Like, it's really hard to take a turn 2 off to try to hit a blue source. Especially since they run Metamorphose, too. It's a good idea, but their deck's just too fast for it. think on the draw, I'm going to take out one of the Mystical Disputes, get us back down to 60. Definitely keeping this hand. It is obviously weak to a turn 1 threat. Can I get away with fetching an island here? I think yes. They keep a 1-lander. Please tell me. Nope, I'm going to keep a 1-lander. So, probably a Lutz hand. Nope. Okay. So, problem is here. Yeah, Dragon's Claw is certainly tempting, isn't it? We could still die to this board state, unfortunately. Problem is here, right, is put it on top. Okay. I think we're just going to pass here. Okay, that's fine. So I'm going to take a little bit of a risky line here. I'm going to try to choke them on mana here. And choke their big spell turn here. So if they have Bolt, we're dead anyway, right? So I think I just let this happen. Go to 6. So unless they have a blue spell, we won't be flipping Thing in the Ice. What is their hand? We're getting closer. This is just going to be a hard cast Stormwing entity. Feels like it the way they've been playing. Certainly kept us in this game. I think we hold up Ethergust here. Feels like a concession lockup. Got the 4-1. Got the 4-1 with a deck that's dead. And we didn't play a bunch of like no-name decks either. We played against Naya Ponza with Gigi. We played against Nahuel on Izzet Prowess. We won. We beat 5 Color Niv with Uro and Omnath. And the fourth one was like red-white taxes, and then our only loss was to Oops All Spells, and we took them to 3 games. Wow. That was freaking crazy. I don't know if the deck's good, but it certainly feels more playable with Spyros in there. I don't know if we're good, but this deck feels a lot better. I think the Prowess matchups are probably closer than the Burn matchups, because Prowess decks at their core are more of a creature-based deck, and, you know, so I'm definitely going to have to do more work on this deck. The ins and the outs I'm still working on. Like, you guys brought up a lot of points, like Lightning Axe as a card, the fetch land situation. A lot of those details still need to be worked out. But, yeah, I really can't complain about the 4-1. So, I think I'm going to end the stream on that high note, and I'm going to send you guys off to Blitz, if he's, or not to. The one of Blood Moon, it was kind of a cheeky card.